Can hypnotherapy help with anxiety? So, if you have very high anxiety, you'll know how overwhelming it can feel. Sometimes it can seem like it's taken over your life, leaving you nowhere else to turn. And worries can grow, and sometimes they seem to be never ending. Now, I really like the analogy that's put forward in the book, The Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters. If you haven't read that book, I really recommend having a read. Really fascinating, really eye-opening. But he talks about this worry mushroom syndrome, which really is a good analogy for how it can feel. And within the book, he says that worries can be like mushrooms in a lot of ways. For example, if you grow mushrooms in a pot, one of those mushrooms will grow up, it'll take up all the space, all the moisture, all the air, and it'll stop the other mushrooms from growing. But then if you pick that mushroom, the next one will do the same. It'll take up all the space, the air, the moisture. So that's how our worries can feel sometimes, isn't it? Where we have this one big worry, takes up all of our mind, we really struggle to think about anything else. But then if we somehow get rid of that worry, just like we're picking that mushroom, then the next worry that we hadn't even thought about before or given it much thought at all takes up all the space of our mind. So just like those mushrooms in a pot, where one mushroom is growing, taking up all that space and air and moisture, our worries can do that in our brain, take up all the space until we manage to get rid of it, if we do, and then the next one does the same. So as I say, I really like that analogy, and definitely worth having a read of The Chimp Paradox if you haven't done so already. So anxiety can make everyday activities feel really challenging and sometimes almost impossible. So what is anxiety? Well, anxiety can affect us in many different ways, causing us to feel worried, scared, or uneasy. We can create anxiety by negatively forecasting the future, such as worrying about events which are coming up. For example, we could be anxious about an upcoming social event or a presentation that we have to give in work. We can also create anxiety by negatively ruminating on the past, maybe regretting or feeling negative about memories and events which have happened in our lives. How can anxiety show itself? Well, anxiety can affect us in so many different ways, and so many conditions rely on anxiety to thrive, including OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. This is when a person has obsessive thoughts and compulsive behaviors. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, caused by very stressful, frightening, or distressing events. Depersonalization and derealization, sometimes known as DPDR. And that's a feeling of being outside of yourself or not feeling like the world around you is real. Generalized anxiety disorder, persistent and excessive worrying, and this could be about anything. For example, money, health, family, or work. Panic disorder, when a person has regular sudden panic attacks. Social anxiety disorder, which is an intense, persistent fear of being watched and judged by others. And phobias, when someone has an overwhelming and debilitating fear of an object, place, situation, feeling, or animal. So how is anxiety caused? Well, it might be obvious to us why we're anxious, but it might also be that we're so used to feeling anxious that we don't know why we feel this way anymore. So in hypnotherapy, we use the analogy of a stress bucket. All of our stresses are put into an imaginary bucket, and if we don't empty it, then sooner or later it will overflow. And this is when anxiety can hit us with full force, creating a vicious negative cycle in our minds, leading to more negative thoughts, more anxiety, and more problems. So what are the effects of anxiety? Well, anxiety can stop us from doing the things we really want in life. It can affect us in so many ways, as we've mentioned, from things like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, to generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. And GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, at the time of writing and the time of creating this video, is thought to affect as much as 5% of the UK population, with slightly more women affected than men, and most common in those aged between 35 and 39, and those are NHS figures. Those with GAD feel constantly anxious, unable to relax, and trapped in a constant vicious cycle of negative thoughts. Social anxiety is also commonly seen in those with high anxiety. So you may feel overwhelmed and unable to attend social situations, scared to interact with new people, or even with people you know well. Anyone with high anxiety can experience panic attacks, characterized by a period of intense fear and physical reactions such as hyperventilating, increased heart rate, and high blood pressure. It may feel like you're losing control, having a heart attack, or dying. So how can hypnotherapy help with anxiety? Well, hypnotherapy has been shown to be very effective in relieving anxiety. Hypnosis uses deep relaxation and visualization to help you relax, breaking you out of that vicious cycle of negative thinking. This deep relaxation will assist in giving you more intellectual control and allow you to clearly see the best way forward in your life. I recommend that you also have a look at some of my other blogs and my videos that are linked to those, and you can find all of these on my website. Ready to take the next step? Are you ready to explore how hypnotherapy can help you to achieve lasting change? If so, click the link in the description to book your free, no obligation initial consultation with me today. Not quite ready for a consultation? Subscribe to my newsletter and receive free hypnotherapy soundtracks to ease anxiety and help you sleep at night. You'll also receive my monthly newsletter containing lots of free tips and useful information, and of course, no spam ever. Click the link in the description to sign up and get your free soundtracks. Still have questions about hypnotherapy or my services? Find answers to common questions on my FAQ page. Find the link for that in the description. So there we go. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it interesting. And I'll look forward to seeing you in another one very, very soon. Thank you and goodbye.